platform for the speakers. So let's get started. We have a lot of knowledgeable panelists to cover a multitude of topics. Let's welcome our panelists. First, we'll have Representative Dan Huberty, the Texas State Representative, will give insight on Texas House Bill 2025 relating to the creation of the Lake Houston Dredging and Maintenance District. We'll have Commander Larry Bainbridge with the Houston Police Department from Kingwood, providing his introduction and information on his new role with HPD Kingwood. Mayor Pro Tem Dave Martin, City of Houston Council member, to provide updates on City of Houston's ongoing projects in Kingwood. Dr. Fagan with Humble ISD Superintendent, presenting information on the groundbreaking of the Kingwood Agriculture Science Center, flood mitigation efforts at Kingwood High School, the new transportation center, and other topics relating to Humble ISD. Stan Starman, Lake Houston Redevelopment Authority Chairman, sharing information about the North Park Overpass project, which is aiming for a summer 2021 groundbreaking. Dr. Nazra, principal of Kingwood High School, with updates, recognitions, and information relating to KHS. As always, we depend on our business sponsors to make programs like BizCom available for our members in our greater Lake Houston area community. Kingwood BizCom sponsors include co-presenting sponsor, HCA Houston Healthcare and Generation Park. Gold sponsors are HEB Kingwood Market, Whataburger, Service Master Restoration and Cleaning, the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, and the Auberge at Kingwood. Our silver sponsors are K&S Sportswear and Frost Bank. If your business is interested in being a sponsor, please contact the Partnership Lake Houston team. Your sponsorship funds support the efforts of Partnership Lake Houston, which enables us to help businesses recover and succeed. Now more than ever, small businesses need the help, resources, and guidance the partnership provides. If your business has not been negatively impacted by the pandemic, please consider sponsoring a program or sponsor a membership for a small business. The Kingwood BizCom Committee would like to give a warm welcome to Dr. Sterling Ray III of HCA Healthcare Kingwood as one of our co-sponsors. We will now hear from Dr. Ray III. Dr. Ray?
Good morning, and thank you for that warm introduction. As mentioned, my name is Sterling Ray. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at Kingwood Hospital, which is a part of HCA. I come to you with greetings, also representing my CEO, John Corbeil, who has previously messaged out for Kingwood BizCom and Partnership Lake Houston. I did want to share some general updates, not only reflective of HCA globally, but more specifically from Kingwood. And for those of you who may not know, HCA has about 180 hospitals nationwide and even a few hospitals internationally. And Kingwood Hospital is within the Gulf Coast Division, which has 16 hospitals, 13 of which are in the Houston market and 3 are in South Texas. Kingwood is obviously one of the 13 facilities in the Houston market, so I did want to share some highlights of what's going on currently at our facility. So at present, we have roughly 1,600 employees and over 600 physicians on our roster. We're a 419 licensed bed facility. We have 10 operating suites, 4 cath labs, a plethora of other diagnostic imaging and procedural areas. We're a comprehensive stroke center, high-level neonatal ICU. We're level 3 trauma in pursuit of advanced trauma of level 2. We have a level 3 maternal designation. And we also have a forever enlarging graduate medical education program with over 85 residents across general surgery, medicine, transitional year, emergency medicine, and podiatry. And that will grow to 120 residents by July of this year. So very proud to bring an academic community hospital to this Kingwood community. Just to share with you, obviously we have a primary catchment area of roughly 400,000 individuals. That's in a 10-mile radius here in Kingwood. But due to our position on 59 North, our catchment area actually extends rather far north as well as east. And so as we look at our secondary and tertiary markets that extend out 30 miles, our true catchment area is really about 4.4 million. So we really cater to a large population base even outside of Kingwood. I did want to share some of our growth priorities moving forward. From a cardiology and cardiovascular standpoint, we're looking to have HCA Houston Healthcare Heart Hospital. We're expecting to launch that in 2022. Forever growing our women's and children's neonatal service line, so really expanding opportunities there to cater to women, OB, and pediatrics. Orthopedics are really looking to launch not only our trauma program, but Orthopedic Center of Excellence. We've greatly expanded our neurology and neurosurgery capabilities as it supports our level 2 trauma advancement. On the general surgery side, looking to further expand into specialized care for bariatrics and advanced robotics. And then with oncology, really looking to expand breast, lung, and other advanced surgical oncology service lines as well. We also have a rehab facility on our campus. So not only are we acute care, but we also have service lines that extend into the post-acute. And then obviously, as we look at access opportunities for the community, really focusing not only on our ER, but also our freestanding EDs and our urgent care centers, which are an extension of our facility. Lastly, I just wanted to conclude that on the Kingwood campus, we've treated approximately 2,500 COVID positive patients. Those are patients that have been admitted. We're very proud that we've saved over 2,000 lives when it comes to our COVID admissions, and Kingwood has really led the Gulf Coast Division with the highest volume of admitted COVID patients. We continue to administer vaccines on this campus to our staff and employees, and through our partnership within our HCA market, we've also extended vaccines to relatives of our employees and our physicians. We also have stood up a monoclonal antibody clinic, which is our ability to partner with the state to provide monoclonal antibody infusions to individuals that have COVID-19 but do not require admission. These therapies have been shown to improve outcomes and decrease the likelihood of individuals with COVID symptoms progressing to require hospitalization. And we've aggressively educated and provided protective equipment to our employees. And we're very proud to say that of our 1,600 employees, we've only had 258 of those employees to actually contract COVID. And the majority of those, well over 90%, were related to community exposures and not related to any issues related to PPE or exposure within the hospital. We're very proud that overall, as a Gulf Coast Division, we've administered over 17,000 vaccines. And so as a takeaway message, I would encourage everyone that's listening to please avail themselves of the vaccines that have been made available as we continue to manage and march through this pandemic. Thank you for my time, and I appreciate the opportunity to address the group.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. That was some really great information, and we appreciate your sponsorship. Are you looking for an office upgrade or want to leave the home office behind? Generation Works, located in Redemption Square at Generation Park, is the place to be. We're pleased to have with us today Dr. Ian Adler of Generation Park as co-presenter. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you for having me. I'm not a doctor, though. I'll just go by Ian. I
like to give you recognition when you don't deserve it.
I appreciate it. I'll just do a quick run through of what's going on at Generation Park. Hopefully I share the right thing. Screen one. There we go. All right. So if you don't know about Generation Park or where it is, we are one of the largest private commercial developments in the world, located in your backyard of Lake Houston at the corner of Beltway 8 and just south of West Lake Houston Parkway. So if you haven't been here yet, please come down and check us out. We've just opened up 2 new restaurants, Boca Italian Kitchen and Lupo Pizzeria with Chopped winner Chef Justin Turner. So if you're looking for fresh, quality, and scratch-made food with some great cocktails and a terrific wine list, come down to Redemption Square. You can just type that into your Google Maps. It'll take you right to it. We've got 3 restaurants there so far. We're working on a 4th. And we've also got, if you want to be able to eat great lunches every day, we've got Generation Works opening up this September. So we've got a multitude of offices available, starting from $700 a month. So you'll be in that little orange box is where the office suites are, right above the restaurants down below. And then here's kind of a layout of the floor plan. So again, starting at $700 a month, all inclusive, includes your internet, utilities, parking in the garage. So for those of you that park outside in the Texas heat, this will be a nice break for you. But really suites for businesses of all sizes. And if you're too big for this, we've got other options available as well. Another new opening at Redemption Square is Eden Salon Suites. So whether you need your hair, your nails, facial, makeup, body contouring, or tanning, Eden Salon Suites has what you need. We've completely leased up the project. So we do have a waiting list available. You can join. Just head to edensalonsuites.com. And then another exciting update is the Courtyard by Marriott in Redemption Square is opening in June. So we're excited to welcome them. I think they have 140 or so rooms. So whether it's a staycation, vacation, or you want your in-laws to stay here versus at your house, they'll be able to do that second half of this year. And then upcoming events we have at Redemption Square. These are ongoing. We have Zumba on the Lawn tonight and every Thursday at 6:30, hosted by the YMCA. We have story time happening right now out on the lawn. So if you've got kids and you want to get out of the house, please bring them on down to the square. We read a bunch of very kid-friendly books out on the grass, weather permitting. Every third Saturday of the month, we have Cars and Coffee at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then on Sundays, we have free yoga also out on the lawn, just in time. It ends just in time for a great brunch. And then we have on the fourth Saturday of each month from 11 to 3, the farmers market at Redemption Square. It's a great place to come out. We always have live music. It's a beautiful environment to walk around in. And that's the update I got going on here. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, visit generationpark.com for more info and for a bunch of ways to contact us.
Thank you so much. And now that I've labeled you a doctor, you have 24 hours that you can use that. So make sure you utilize it.
All right.
That's some great information. And I love getting out there and spending time at Generation Park. A big thank you to Generation Park and HCA Healthcare for co-presenting our BizCom. Without your support, this event would not be successful. So let's start today by welcoming our first panelist, Texas State Representative Dan Huberty, as he's in Austin working hard for our area in the 87th legislature. Representative Huberty will share insight into Texas House Bill 2025 relating to the creation of the Lake Houston Dredging and Maintenance District.
Hey, good morning. Hi, Dan Huberty, State Representative, District 127, here to give you a little bit of update for the BizCom. We've been in Austin now since January 12th, so we're about halfway through the session, and we're busy. We've got a lot of committee meetings that are meeting right now. I happen to serve on public education, licensing and regulation, and am subcommittee chair for licensing and regulation. And so we've been super busy on trying to figure out how to get through. We have roughly 4,600 bills so far that have been filed in the House, and about 2,500 roughly that have been filed in the Senate. Obviously, because of COVID, just like everything else that's happening in today's world, it's been different this session. It's been different in a lot of different ways. Typically we would recognize people, recognize associations. Certainly the partnership would come up and talk to us, and they'd have their events, and we can't do that this legislative session. So it's a little lonely at the Capitol, but it's allowing us to be a little bit more efficient. Which is a good thing. So like I said, we've been very busy with a variety of different pieces of legislation. I'm going to point out a couple that I think are important. Number one, we have the fix, as you know, for last legislative session. We had House Bill 3, which was a reform of education bill. I'm handling the cleanup, what we call the cleanup bill, which is about 60 pages so far, to fix many of the different issues that we found within HB 3. And a lot of those things are related to some of our smaller districts in career and technical education, dealing with special education programs, things that, when you have a 500-page bill that sometimes you just miss. And at this point in time, we're trying to get an idea of what we think the cost of that's going to be. But two things that are really important. Number one, we've agreed to and we're going to fully fund the economic cost of House Bill 3 from last legislative session for those people in Humble ISD or a variety of different surrounding districts, whether it's Spring or Splendor, New Caney, Huffman, for example, districts that I have a part of or represent. There's going to be no economic impact associated with that at all. In fact, for some of the smaller districts, we're going to put roughly at this point, we think about $350 million more back into the system, into the education system. In addition to that, we're dealing with the Lake Houston dredging program right now. We have put some money or asked to have some money put into the budget to continue the ongoing program that we started last legislative session, where we were able to get $30 million, and we had the flood control district and the city of Houston also put in. So continuing the dredging on the San Jacinto River, and then we're trying to get, as we go forward with the Lake Houston dredging program, the inlets that we have within the Atascocita and variety of areas around Lake Houston. So that's going to be important for us to be able to get that done, I think. And so we're working really hard, and that's going to go to environmental regulations. We expect that to be probably in the next week or two for us to be able to get that done. Another big piece of legislation that we filed and that we're dealing with and working very closely with the Speaker's office on is House Bill 2020. And what that bill does, excuse me, 2000. What that bill does, it's the answer, at least the House's answer, to what happened with our grid, the electricity grid. Back in 2013, we created a program called SWIFT. That program was very specific towards creating water programs where different variety of groups could come in and borrow money from the state of Texas to build their programs that they want to do. So we've created two bills. One is, as I said, House Bill 2000, and the other one is HJR 2. And that'll be a constitutional amendment that'll ask the voters, you the voters, whether you want us to spend that money. We've identified about $4.5 billion worth of projects that we would do. Excuse me, allergies are killing me here, by the way. Identified a bunch of projects that we think can be done. But it's going to be very comprehensive. So it's going to deal with the electricity grid, it's going to be dealing with water infrastructure, winterization, and then also broadband. And so those are all really important things, because what we learned during COVID, specifically during COVID, is that with broadband, is that we weren't being able to provide educational opportunities the same in our urban areas and suburban areas as we could in our rural areas. And so we had kids that weren't being able to be educated the same as our kids that were here in Humble ISD, as an example, that might be out in Canadian Texas. And we know that that's a problem. We've been dealing with that broadband issue for many, many years. And so we're going to be working really hard on that. It is a huge piece of legislation that we're working on. We're going to be working very closely as we go forward with the Speaker's office, and then obviously with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and then obviously the Governor's office. It is a priority for us to be able to deal with that. As many of you experienced damage to your homes, just like I did, as a result of the power outages, we have never seen a winter storm like that in the state of Texas, certainly in our area. And so we recognize that this is something that absolutely needs to be addressed and be dealt with. And so I'm honored to be able to be a part of the solution as we move forward through this process. We have many other pieces of legislation. We filed about 26 pieces of legislation at this point. And typically, we'll have a bigger legislative package, but because of the COVID situation that's going on, even though we've had 4,600 bills that have been filed, which is very close to what's been filed in the past, committees aren't meeting as much, and we're not having as much public testimony, we're not having as many people come, and we're not hearing as many pieces of legislation this session because we're trying to focus on the impact of COVID. One of the other big things that we're seeing and that's happening right now that I think is really important for everybody to recognize is that because of we had a variety of different money that's coming in from the feds. Originally it was called the CARES Act, then they called it CARISA, and that was the $1.9 trillion that was coming in, and there'll be additional money. So the state of Texas is going to be getting billions of dollars that'll be coming into the system. And so as we started the legislative session, we had about a $7 billion shortfall. That's not going to be the case as we go forward, but we're still working towards a variety of different solutions that need to be done. I think this pandemic really woke up, the country, certainly Texas, for a variety of different ways to incentivize our businesses. And how do we get business back to work? And what do we do to be able to do that? Like you, as a small business guy, we've had a serious impact to our business. We're working really hard to make sure that we're able to get businesses back to doing the right things and to incentivize them. So for those of you that have been struggling just like we have, I think that we're going to try to create a variety of incentive programs for people that are out there to continue back and get back to work. I think that what I've seen, is we've had a huge class of new members that have come in. There's a lot of new chairmen that are serving right now, and so there's a little bit of a learning curve that we're seeing certainly as we get on the floor on a daily basis. We've started having we had our first calendar this past week and dealing with that. And for those of you who don't know what a calendar is, you go through, filing a bill, refer the bill to the committee votes it out, then it goes to calendars, and then it comes to the floor. And kind of interesting enough, the very first bill of the legislative session, the House works much different from the Senate. The first bill that we had on the floor, somebody called a point of order on it, which means that they tried to kill the bill. It didn't happen. It was overturned by the parliamentarians, but it's just kind of a sign of, I think, times to come of, what the session is going to look like as we go forward. So those are some of the big items. Then as we proceed along, my suspicion is that because there's going to be a lot of things that we're not going to get to that are going to be really important for us to get to during this legislative session, the governor's going to probably call some special sessions during the summer. My hope is that he at least gives us June off. And then, we'll probably come back in the July timeframe, maybe August as well, depending on, what he puts on the agenda and where it's going to be at. But we will certainly be back sometime September, October because of redistricting. We're not going to have the census data to be able to determine, how to draw the new districts. Every 10 years, we have to redraw the lines. So we have to draw the lines for the state house districts, the Senate districts, and then the congressional districts as well. In addition to that, this year, we're also talking about dealing with the appellate court districts. And that's really important because those have not been redrawn in many, many, many years. And so we're dealing with a lot of those issues as we go forward. The redistricting committee has met during the interim period of time. There is a new chairman of that committee. He's been there for a very long time, so he's unbelievably competent and will do a great job as we go forward. But that is always a very contentious issue that we deal with. We had redistricting in my first session in 11, and then we came back in 13 because the federal courts denied the maps that we had created. So this will be a very contentious situation that I think we're going to have to be dealing with as we go forward. So what does that mean? What it means is that when we normally have our primaries in March, that will not be the case this year. More than likely, you're going to see primaries in May and June of this next year, so or in 2022. So that's some of the things that I think that are going to be out there that we're going to be dealing with. I think that there is a variety of other issues. As I said, when you have 4,600 bills, everybody's got an idea about something. As I still continue to serve on public education, I've already seen a lot of bad ideas that have come across, and I always point and I tell people, I said, the education code the book is about that thick. And people's job should be to figure out a way to streamline education, not make it more difficult for our superintendents and for our school board members that are out there that are doing a great job. I would also say the last thing is this: is that in firsthand experience in trying to figure out how to get the schools open last year, particularly when we weren't sure what was going to happen this fall. We weren't sure what was going to happen as schools opened and what we were going to do and how we were going to fund schools and what was going to be really important to us. I'm just really, really proud of our teachers and the work that they've done. I think that they've done an amazing job in trying to educate our kids. Certainly firsthand experience here in our district. I have one left in the house as a junior, and I think the teachers have just done a fantastic job of educating our kids and working really hard and being collaborative, and really happy with the response that our districts have provided in providing access to equipment and technology and all the other things that need to be able to happen. We did a survey during the summer trying to figure out, roughly how many devices that we needed to put out, and keeping in mind that there's like 5.5 million kids in the public education system, figuring out, how many kids really need a device, right? Because you might have multiple kids at home, but maybe mom and dad only have one laptop or maybe one iPad. But when you have kids that are doing online learning at home, you might have 2 or 3 kids in the house and they're sharing one device and they have to be on school at the same time. And so we identified about 1.5 million devices. We actually deployed 2.5 million devices. And originally we thought about 500,000 hotspots, and it's already about 1 million hotspots. And a hotspot doesn't work as good as broadband, and that's why we're really focused on getting broadband out. And I think what we've also learned is that kids are going to learn different as we go forward. So this is a unique opportunity for the state of Texas to educate our kids differently, but make sure that we're continuing to fund them, and to make sure that we're, making sure that from my perspective as somebody that's spent, the majority of my adult life, and whether it's been teaching school board or on public education for 12 years, making sure that we're trying to figure out a way to get kids the educational opportunities they deserve and they need. And that's going to be really important. So our focus, certainly on the Public Education Committee this session, is a lot of those type of issues, dealing with a lot of those type of issues. And it's going to be really, really important for us to tackle those as we go forward. The governor has a lot of emergency items dealing with election reform. And so we're dealing with those issues as we continue to go forward. And I know that that is important to many people, including myself, in making sure that we have a fair process and a fair election process. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and just say that, we've got a long, unfortunately, I think, I actually went and saw the people that I rent my apartment from, because I only had it through August, and I said, I'm going to be here through December, because I think it's going to be a long haul this year. And I've been through it before, but as I always tell you, I am happy to be your representative in Texas. It's always great to come back to Houston, as Ted Poe used to say, where there's some normalcy, especially in Humble, because Austin is nuts. It really is. But I've enjoyed the opportunity to serve you. Always appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and thank you for the chance to serve. And with that, just God bless you and God bless Texas. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Representative Huberty, and thank you for fighting for all of us in Austin. We really appreciate it. I would like to give a warm partnership welcome to new Houston Police Department Kingwood Division Commander. Here to introduce himself is Commander Bainbridge.
Hi, good morning. I'm coming to you live from my patrol vehicle. Unfortunately, I had a previously scheduled meeting on the other side of town. So my name is Larry Bainbridge. I recently transferred from Tactical Operations Division as the SWAT commander. I've got 29 years with the department, and I have a lot of various experiences pretty much around the department, from patrol to homicide, internal affairs, and a few other in between. I'm excited about being out in Kingwood. It's a great place to work. There's great people. In case you don't know, there's about 91,000 citizens inside the incorporated areas of Kingwood in Houston, and that covers about 70 square miles. So it's a pretty big area with a vast population, and not a whole lot of officers, as I'm sure you're well aware of. But the guys that are out there are outstanding. Tends to be a little more veteran officers, because it is a sought after division because of the area. One of the things I hope to bring to the division is training, additional training. One thing that we did in SWAT was constant training to be prepared for those situations and whatever may come up. And certainly I want to address the issue of flooding and having the officers prepared should they need to, again, respond to any water rescues and so forth. I know they've done that many times in the past. I know when I was with Tactical Operations, deployed with the dive team during Harvey. So I know the issues that are faced, and I know there's a number of efforts underway to try to remediate those. But we want to have our guys ready if and when it does occur again. And just so everyone knows, I love the bike patrol. Went out with the guys yesterday. Had a really nice time riding with the guys, and I believe that's something that definitely needs to stay, and keep them out there and working the green belt and so forth. And I think we can help make that area continue to make it safe. So with that, I'll close, and just want to say thank you, and please call on me should you have any questions or issues, and I'll be happy to answer your questions or resolve your issues. So thank you.
Thank you, Commander, and welcome to Kingwood. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Dave Martin to share information about ongoing City of Houston projects in and around Kingwood and information on hurricane preparedness. Welcome, Mayor Pro Tem Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Martin. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Houston and also proudly to represent you in District E. So today I'm going to talk to you about four main subjects, give you a quick update on COVID and vaccines, then move into mouth bar dredging, Lake Houston spillway gates, and then talk a little bit about the Woodridge Village Perry Home situation as it exists today. And that really culminates in drainage projects that we're doing in and around Kingwood. As you know, water flows downstream, and I'll talk a little bit about the projects and how they affect the Kingwood Diversion Ditch, Ben's Branch, and Taylor's Gully. So to talk a little bit about vaccines, I want to congratulate everyone in the Lake Houston area for doing a great job with getting vaccines. So the highest percentage of folks, residents being vaccinated in the city of Houston, reside right here in Kingwood in zip code 77345. 41% of those folks have been vaccinated, not once, but twice. 77339 follows at 36% of the residents, and then 77346 at 30%. So I've been vaccinated twice. So everybody out there, get your vaccines and we'll get that herd immunity that we so desperately need, and we can go back to a sense of normalcy. Talk a little bit about the mouth bar. So far, DRC is about 25% complete in phase 2 that you're seeing right now in and around that area. The East Fork, we finished doing that dredging in January of this year. And as you remember, years ago, we received a lot of money from FEMA to do the initial project. And that has really taken us to where we are today. If you look in the mouth bar today, it's slowly but surely disappearing. There's a strip of land that you'll see where the cranes are. And a lot of people ask me, Dave, why are we not doing that strip of land? Well, we're keeping that strip of land there, so if we have any trouble with the dredgers, we have the ability for the mechanics to come on that island that we've created and to do the mechanical work there without taking the dredge and bringing it into the land where we need to go. So once again, the initial project, we removed 1.9 million cubic yards, my mistake, of sand and siltation. And as of today, we have another 1 million that FEMA has given us. Remember, just recently, FEMA agreed with our presentation we did, probably 2 years ago, where we said there was additional debris in the mouth bar that was a result of Harvey. Initially, they said no, it wasn't a result of Harvey. We protested that all the way to Walla Walla, Washington, where the Corps of Engineers runs their office there, and they agreed that this was a result of Harvey. So we have almost another million cubic yards of debris, of sand, of siltation that we're attacking right now, which together with the 1.9 gives us almost 3 million yards of cubic yards of debris that we've removed or in the process of removing. Which leads us to, why are we doing this? The Lake Houston Spillway Dam. My opinion, the single most important project we can have in the city of Houston to protect the residents in the Lake Houston area. We're going to have a public forum in the not too distant future. We were waiting on the ability to meet people in person. I don't believe in doing it on Zoom. I don't believe that that's the right format for a project this important. So we're going to be able to present the ideas and the concept of what the Lake Houston Spillway Dam and the additional 10 gates look like. That project will probably be completed around the end of 2022 or the beginning of 23. We got pushed back a little bit because of the environmental impact and the studies we had to do. Originally, we were thinking of creating those gates on the east side of the dam in an area where you don't have to build a cofferdam, and what you can do is just build the extension onto the east side. Well, if you've ever been to the dam, there's a lot of vegetation in that area, a lot of nesting. So the environmentalists recommended that we go into a different area to do that. And so we're going to attach the additional 10 gates onto the existing Lake Houston Spillway Dam. And in order to do that, we had to be a study to make sure that there would be no negative impact on the existing structure as it exists today. So a long process, but we're finally getting there. Talk a little bit about what I think is one of the biggest surprise wins that we've had. I remember vividly when Representative Huberty and I went out to Elm Grove and talked to the neighbors in Elm Grove after they got flooded, not once, but twice. And we told them at that time that we are going to purchase this land from Perry Homes and we're going to turn it back into green land, forestry, trees, and it's going to get back to an area that would act as stormwater detention. And we were successful in doing that. It was a long process. It was about a 5-beer story, and I'm not going to tell you about the 5-beer story now because Allie only gave me 5 minutes. But let's say we were successful in doing that. We have almost 3 acres of land that we turned from a potential to have houses there in Montgomery County into what we're going to do with that is turn it into a giant storm detention facility. And we have a couple of other projects that we line up with that. The Kingwood Diversion Ditch, Ben's Branch, and Taylor Gully over to the east side. So if you look at the way flooding was handled in that area, and originally designed for when Kingwood was built many, many years ago, most of the water was expected to go down the Kingwood Diversion Canal, which is right at the front of Kingwood by the fire station. The second tributary was Ben's Branch, and the third was Taylor's Gully. As many people know, because Kingwood High School, St. Martha's Catholic School, Kids in Action, all those areas around that point, we had a lot of flooding because Ben's Branch was completely clogged up. The proper flow of water from the north to the south couldn't get there. And instead of the diversion canal and Taylor's Gully handling a lot of that water, the vast majority of the water, because of clogging in those 2 tributaries, was coming down Ben's Branch, thus causing a tremendous amount of flooding. So this project that we're doing up in the Perry Homes land, up in the north of Elm Grove, is going to be an opportunity for us not only to consolidate our wastewater treatment facilities we have here in Kingwood. By the way, we use FEMA funds for that, which is great for us because we don't spend our money and we can use it elsewhere. So we attack the Kingwood Diversion Canal and start moving the water away from Ben's Branch down the Kingwood Diversion Canal. And then we take Ben's Branch, and if you look behind Kingwood High School and you look by the old HEB site, you'll see a lot of work going on there. Well, that's cleaning out the tributary of Ben's Branch and making sure that there's a proper flow of water to the San Jacinto River and eventually to the Gulf of Mexico. And then we're working in coordination with Harris County Flood Control on Ben's Branch and Taylor's Gully. And as you know, Taylor's Gully was a flood area in and around the north side of Harris County, north side of Kingwood, right by the Woodridge Village area. So a lot of great projects going on, millions of dollars being spent in our area. And I just want to say a closing statement. This doesn't happen just because of one person or 2 people. It takes a team effort. I can't say enough good things about State Representative Dan Huberty and a lot of the things he's working on now in Austin, especially with House Bill 2525. Write your letters to everybody in the State House and in the Senate to make sure that those guys know that we need it. Senator Brandon Creighton, who's carrying Dan's House Bill 2525 into the Senate. And then Congressman Dan Crenshaw, who we had a meeting with him this morning in his office. There's a couple of other projects that we're working on because earmarks in Washington D.C. are now back. So we're trying to use some earmark dollars for continuing dredging projects to protect us from storms in the future. So that's a quick nutshell. I can't thank you enough for the positive feedback you've given to me. And I know that Dan Huberty is part of this BizCom. And when you see Dan next time, give him a big hug and a kiss because he's carrying some important legislation for us in Austin. So with that, God bless and keep hitting the ball straight down the middle. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's always great to get updates from you. We want to offer our appreciation to each of our gold sponsors. Through your generous support, we can educate and update our community on important topics during these BizComs. So thank you. Turning your backyard into an oasis with flowers, plants, grills, and more from your local Kingwood HEB. Don't forget to include HEB True Texas Barbecue in your weekly dining or catering needs. HEB Texas Barbecue Department can deliver any items from their department, including grills, furniture, and of course, their delicious barbecue. ServiceMaster hopes that all our friends and neighbors have recovered from the February freeze event. We know it was difficult for those businesses that had damage. As we look ahead to the upcoming storm season, we encourage you to contact us to discuss your business continuity planning. I would now like to introduce Dr. Fagan, Superintendent of Humble ISD, to tell us about the groundbreaking of the Kingwood Agriculture Service Center, flood mitigation efforts at Kingwood High School, and the new Transportation Center. Dr. Fagan?
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to update and share all of our wonderful progress in the Kingwood area. From the 2018 bond, you probably remember that we passed with your help, a $575 million bond in 2018 that has positively impacted most Humble ISD communities, if not all. And today we'll just be going quickly through some of the updates to Kingwood if you haven't seen them. This is the groundbreaking for the North Agricultural Science Center. Some of you may affectionately call this the North Ag Barn. It has been the place where we've had to, this is actually the new site, but the old site is the place where we've had to evacuate animals pretty consistently during heavy rains because it's about 14 feet below the floodplain. And so this is the brand new site. It's a beautiful site just north of Kingwood, and it's well underway. We're excited to have it. These are you can see here, this is like a map that shows you the Kingwood Ag Barn site sits right here off Mills Branch and Ford Road. And then we have our Kingwood or North Transportation Center also going up just a few blocks down the road. The North Transportation Center will save us about $2 million a year in operating costs because we will eliminate all of those deadhead miles where our bus drivers have to go clear back to Humble after routes for various things for their buses in the fleet. And this will just be so much closer to all of our Kingwood schools. It will also improve the quality of life for our teachers and students with field trips, our coaches who drive buses for us to many athletic events, our fine arts directors who rely on our transportation system also. The transportation will be so much closer and available for all of those. This is that rendering of the Agricultural Science Center. You may know that the one on the south side of the district is already up and going. It looks like this on the inside. Our students have typically, who have raised animals, have had to sort of practice showing them just out in the grass. And now they have both north and south, these brand new show arenas. And we had some students who shared with folks at our board presentation about what a difference that has made for them in preparing to show their animals. And as you know, these students, they raise these animals and then they take them to sale if they make the sale. And they can earn a great deal of money towards college or whatever their career path is from the sale of these animals. But it's a lot of hard work in the meantime. So a great opportunity in Humble ISD that has really gotten even better. This is the groundbreaking for the North Transportation Center, and I showed you on the map where that's just down the street. It looks like this in the rendering, but even more importantly, it looks like this in person. So very excited to see that going up so quickly, and a handsome facility for our bus drivers. We compete with everybody for bus drivers, and so we want to make sure that our folks have great places to train and also take their breaks between routes. So this is the interior rendering of that same transportation center, provides that training space as well as places for our drivers to congregate, perhaps eat and visit between routes. This is the flood mitigation project for Kingwood High School. When Hurricane Harvey flooded Kingwood High School in 2017, we worked with FEMA on what they call a straight putback project, which is not exactly what we had hoped for, but is certainly the most efficient approach to restoring and reopening Kingwood High School. And so that is absolutely the approach we took because our students were adamant that they needed to be back on their campus. Well, in addition to that, now FEMA is paying for us to flood-proof Kingwood High School, and we will be using the same technology that they use at the National Archives as well as the Health Center to do that. This is actually a video of how the floodgates work. And what's really amazing about this is after Ike, Galveston ISD put floodgates in for some of their campuses because of the same situation. Once you flood and FEMA restores your property, they won't do it again. You have to go in and flood proof the property, or you have to rely on property casualty insurance, which is really expensive. So instead, FEMA will actually pay to flood proof. Well, the then superintendent, Kelly Moulton, told me that their floodgates, they have to manually put them out. So if there's a hurricane approaching, they have to shut down the district. They put their floodgates out, they weather the storm, or it passes another way, and then they have to go and actually take all those back up, which delays access to their campus on the front and the back end. These floodgates are always in place. And as the water rises underneath and fills a chamber, these doors automatically come up. And you can see these new granite walls on the side. Between the doors and the walls, it creates a waterproof seal around the entire campus. So you can see here, we have gone through and worked with PBK architects as well as experts in flood control to prepare this flood mitigation strategy. What I really like about it is the first renderings we saw really changed the look and feel of Kingwood High School, and not in a good way. It bricked up some of the windows and did some things that we just didn't feel were appropriate. This new approach retains all the daylight we've had and actually looks pretty nice when you consider that you have to do a lot of work on the campus. So this is the new front entrance for Kingwood High School that we will be building along with a third gym. And I have pictures of that coming. I mentioned earlier that when we worked with FEMA, it was a straight putback initially. As we've gone through the process with them and on the flood mitigation side, they actually have now deemed Kingwood High School what they call a cap improve project, which allows us to do things above and beyond, including the brick staining that you're seeing here, because the exterior of Kingwood was certainly off color as a result of years and years of weathering, but also the storm. And then this allows us also to update the finish of the front entrance. Here's the new gym that we'll be building. It is a third gym. We've just nearly completed construction of the third gyms at Atascocita High School and Summer Creek High School. And this is the athletic commons that will be part of that third gym construction. This is the new nursing facility. We asked our students what sort of CTE programs they would like to have on their campuses, because what they told us is they like to have them right there on their campuses, so it's convenient for their schedules and doesn't mess up their daily courses. And so the Kingwood students were very supportive of the idea of a nursing lab, and we are building that at Kingwood High School under the same construction project as the third gym. This is Kingwood Park's new gym entrance. They will also have a new front entrance, which is not complete. And this is their new third gym. These are also CTE projects at Kingwood Park High School that their students embraced. You may have heard of the tiny homes. They've historically just built those little tiny homes outdoors because they didn't have another choice. We were actually putting together a tiny homes lab that you can see there with the large garage door. You can see the new mock courtroom that our law program will have. And you can also see the new culinary program that will match up with the culinary lab at the new Kingwood Middle School. These are the new wood gym floors at both Riverwood and Creekwood, and they will be paired with brand new locker room renovations that are currently underway. And this is sort of a first look at what those will be. If any of you have children at either of these campuses, you know the locker rooms, the idea of a refresh is long overdue. New Kingwood Middle School, you've probably seen this or been by. We're very excited to see this going up. This campus really embraces the idea of the livable forest and works to not only admire that, but bring it to the inside of the campus also. These are more images of new Kingwood Middle School. We're very excited for this campus. It provides collaborative spaces for students by grade level, provides passive supervision from classrooms to hallways, just a lot of opportunities for students on these campuses that we just haven't had in our previous older campuses. These are the new multipurpose rooms. This has been a project that's been a little bit slower for us, but it's really starting to take hold now. You can see the design on the left and the rendering for Hidden Hollow on the right. And these have been grouped by prototypes. So the buildings, we used to build buildings by prototype groups. And it works better for both the contractor and the architect if we do all of one prototype together. So here are those groups, and you will see those prototypes grouped together here. And that is my last slide for the 2018 bond update. We do have a nice, what I would call a board presentation that we did, and it is on our website. So if you'd like to see the entire presentation talking about how most, if not all of these projects are coming in under budget, how we maximize the savings of the COVID environment where contractors were bidding jobs for less and materials were costing less, and how we have taken the savings from a myriad of projects to put that together to build Northbelt Elementary School in this bond and instead of the next bond. That is all covered in the board workshop and work session that we have posted on our website, where you can see every project from the safety, the renewal, and the growth projects end to end across the entire district, as well as the financials that show the tax rate has actually gone down, not up, and that there have been savings across the board because of excellent management and maximizing the context of the situation we've been in.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fagan. That was some wonderful information. Now we have Stan Sarman, Chairman of the Lake Houston Redevelopment Authority, to give us an update on the North Park Drive Overpass project. This has been a long-awaited project, now set for a groundbreaking this summer. Stan?
Good morning. My name is Stan Sarman. I'm the chair of the Houston Redevelopment Authority, and I appreciate the opportunity to, I know I can't visit with you in person, but have the opportunity to provide this video. I'm here predominantly to give you a quick update on the project, our big project that we've been working on for many years, which is the North Park Drive Overpass project. And then I want to give you a quick update on the second portion of this project, which is the North Park, what we're calling North Park Reconstruction Project. The North Park Overpass project is the portion from I-69 along North Park Drive to Russell Palmer, and it'll be constructed as 6 lanes with an overpass over the railroad tracks at 494. There'll be 3 lanes each direction, and then a service road on the side of the bridge along Loop 494 and the railroad track here, so that residents and folks can get access to the various businesses. The pavement will include closing in the open ditch that currently exists in the median of North Park Drive with some large box storm sewers that will also act as inline detention. Once we get to Russell Palmer, the pavement then will continue for 6 lanes and then neck back into the 4 lanes that are there. Currently, the construction plans for the overpass project are about 90% complete, and they will hopefully be complete here with all the governmental signatures and everything by the end of May or early June. Our plan right now is to go out for bids hopefully in June and no later than early July, with construction starting sometimes this fall. We are in the process of obtaining still additional right-of-way along North Park Drive. There are about 25 parcels that we're acquiring for additional easements along North Park Drive where the widening is for the service roads. The rest of North Park Drive basically has adequate right-of-way since we're moving everything into the median. The right-of-way has taken a little bit longer acquiring it because of all of the legal processes that the state of Texas requires. Of the 25 or so parcels, we have acquired 3 of them. We have at least 6 where they've accepted our offer and we're in the process of closing. We have 2 or 3 that we're probably going to go into condemnation on, and that is in the process of being set up. So hopefully by the time we bid this job in June or July, it will be complete as far as all the acquisition. Construction on this portion of North Park Drive, of course, will be phased so that 2 lanes of North Park Drive going both directions will be kept open at all times. Now, the pavement will be phased and moved over from one side to the other, just like the TxDOT does when they do major highway improvements, so that we can maintain accessibility along here as best as possible. Obviously, with construction, there still will be some slowdown just with people rubbernecking in one thing or another. The construction time for this first overpass project is about 30 months. So we're looking at 2023 before the project is 100% complete. The next phase, which is from Russell Palmer, just to the east of Russell Palmer, then all the way to just east of Woodland Hills, this is the improvements project. That project, which is going to have 80% federal funding, will be is under design now. We have our consultants on board. They've all been contracted with. We've had a kickoff meeting and they're moving forward. Survey work will continue, will be ongoing as time goes here, and we're hoping to have those plans finished by early 2023, with construction then starting shortly thereafter. The funding through HGAC for the 80% is anticipated around early 2023. So that's moving along as quickly as we can. We will have some short pieces of easement acquisition in that area, and we're hoping to work all that out. We will put in also a pedestrian tunnel somewhere in the vicinity of Glade Valley, which is a street coming off of Park High School, somewhere between Glade Valley and the adjacent street in this area. We haven't worked out the details yet on, and it'll be an underground pedestrian tunnel very similar to the other tunnels, pedestrian tunnels we have in the Kingwood area. That's for not only Kingwood Park, but the private schools and other Village Learning Center residents that cross in that area. So we want to make sure that they're safe in that. So that work is underway. Obviously, all of this takes a whole lot longer than we need to. The overpass project, we're currently also involved with TxDOT because they are the owners of 494 and of course I-69. So the work we're doing to connect at both those locations requires their approval. And then of course with the bridge going over the railroad track here at Union Pacific Railroad, there's a lot of effort going on there. So we're very pleased to continue this project for all of the community because we're also making sure that the pavement is being raised so we're above the 500-year floodplain, and I wish we were already under construction, but unfortunately various legal aspects take a lot longer than anticipated. So those are the main efforts I wanted to bring along and bring up to your attention at this time. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here with you.
Thank you, Stan. Things are heating up at Whataburger restaurants. Head over to enjoy the fan favorite Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich or salad. And for an afternoon treat, try the Dr. Pepper milkshake, all available for a limited time. The University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston ranks as one of the world's most respected centers focused on cancer patient care, research, education, and prevention. The institution's sole mission is to end cancer for patients and their families around the world. MD Anderson is the one of only 51 comprehensive cancer centers designated by the National Cancer Institute and is ranked #1 for cancer care in U.S. News and World Report's Best Hospitals survey. MD Anderson provides cancer care at several convenient locations throughout the greater Houston area. The Auberge at Kingwood is a community specially designed to serve the needs of individuals living with Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and other forms of memory loss. Their communities are specifically designed to nurture their residents through their industry-leading Spark lifestyle program that provides daily activities, chef-inspired cuisine, medication management, 24/7 staff, and much more. They are located off 59 near HCA Houston Healthcare Kingwood Hospital. Lastly, today we invite Dr. Nazra, principal of Kingwood High School, to enlighten us on all things Kingwood High School and give us more information on the Moonshot program. Dr. Nazra?
Thank you so much. I'm Michael Nazar. I'm blessed to serve as the principal of Kingwood High School. And I'm so proud of our staff and students this year for giving us their very best efforts and taking full advantage of what Kingwood High School has to offer. As we wind down this pretty unorthodox school year, we want to take a moment to thank you for all the ways that you make this Mustang family what it is. One of the last times that I spoke to this group, I was sharing the recovery efforts from the effects of Hurricane Harvey and how we and our community were supporting our staff and students and families. And then once again, we find ourselves recovering from trauma and this pandemic, and the emotional, physical, the academic, and the mental support that continues to be shown to our students and staff has been amazing. From mentor opportunities to guest speakers to mock interviews, we've had tremendous support from our business and community partners to allow us to continue to elevate our learning experiences in spite of the limitations. So for those business partners here today and are interested in finding ways to give back to their community, I invite you to be part of the Kingwood High School Moonshot. Our moonshot, or our vision, is that all graduates will have completed at least one internship aligned to their personal career path. We know that it's a big goal, but we believe that our role is not simply to have students leave us with a piece of paper or a diploma. We believe that it's our responsibility to create high quality experiences so that our students are prepared for college, career, and life after high school. So there are 3 specific ways that you can be part of this moonshot. You could be a guest speaker, you can conduct mock interviews with us, or open up your doors for opportunities for students to take advantage of internship, externship, job shadowing, or think tank experiences. Our first step is to add to our industry database. Currently, we have 55 businesses signed up for this partnership with Kingwood High School. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to cast this vision with you. We do have a short video, if there's time, to highlight the successes of Kingwood High School and to give a real world example of the moonshot and internships in action. So have your phones ready. At the end of the video is a QR code, and I invite you to fill out the survey and become a partner with Kingwood High School. Remember, Kingwood High School doesn't simply have a tradition of excellence. We are a tradition of excellence, and we're excited about our future and look forward to continuing to meet the needs of our learners with the support of this amazing community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Seaver Sasso, and I'm a 2020 graduate of KHS. Last fall, I was struggling to decide what I wanted to study in college and thought, wouldn't it be great to get some real-world experience in business? And what better way to do that than through an internship? The only problem was, who wants to hire a high school student such as myself? Challenged, I got up the courage to ask Mr. Negan, my neighbor and the CEO of Apache Industrial Services, whether he would take a chance on me or not. At first, he was hesitant, never having hired a high school student before, but eventually he gave me the opportunity. During my internship, I learned about many of the aspects of an industrial firm, including marketing, HR, accounting, and finance. I am extremely grateful to Mr. Negan and Apache for my internship. It was invaluable and led to my decision to study business next fall. I truly feel that without my time at Apache, I would not be on the path that I am today, and I am so thankful that I got the opportunity.
Our vision is that all students who graduate from Kingwood High School will have completed at least one internship aligned to their personal career path. Help us achieve our vision by partnering with us today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nazar. That was some wonderful information. We'd like to thank our sponsors today, co-presenting sponsor HCA Houston Healthcare and Generation Park, our gold sponsors HEB Kingwood Market, Whataburger, Service Master Restoration and Cleaning, the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, the Auberge at Kingwood. Silver sponsors are K&S Sportswear and Frost Bank. I'd also like to remind everybody about the Humble ISD Education Foundation Gala this on April 16th, next Friday. It's been moved to Stampede Houston. So please go to humbleisdfoundation.org and get your tickets today and come out and party with me. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'd like to give a big thank you to DNA Studios for making me look great and bringing all of this great information to you. We've got a couple reminder items for you. Our 2021 Candidate Forum will be on Friday, April 16th. The Teacher of the Year Luncheon is on April 27th, and the Emcee BizCom will be on May 6th. We hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.